beauties, welcome back. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is doing lovely. Today we're going to be talking all about translucent setting powders from the drugstore at an affordable price. I'm going to be going over all the details that you guys need to know what my favorites are. And for those of you who know or might know, I've been testing translucent setting powders for the past, I want to say like 6 months. So I feel like I have enough data gathered for you guys just to share my favorite translucent setting powders with you guys at an affordable price, because drugstore is definitely stepping up their game and they're matching, you know, really high-end products at an affordable price. So I'm going to be looking for a lot of various things, and we are going to be focusing on mainly translucent setting powders. So not like foundation powders, but just translucent clear setting powders where you can just set your makeup without any additional coverage, and hopefully that will help also different like skin tones as well, because it is translucent. So if you're a little bit darker in tone, you can also take advantage of this information and save a couple dollars by shopping at the drugstore. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I kind of divided them in categories of what my favorites are, what are my less favorite ones. And just so you guys know, I did take a lot into consideration. So I wanted to make sure that they're not cakey, that they last being matte on the skin, that they are good in pictures, so there's no flashback. I took a lot of different, qualifications into consideration while doing this kind of testing from the drugstore. So you guys know I wasn't like, testing this one a couple times and this one, and then out of all of them, these were my favorites. So I tested each of these powders at least 2-3 times, and so it was kind of like data gathered throughout multiple uses, and that will give you guys like a better, understanding of the powders, or a better input from me to you. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, my beauties, so this is the order that I organized these translucent powders in. We're gonna have the obvious winner right here, which I will talk about more in just a second. Then we have the second column, and these are my like second runner-ups favorite translucent setting powders. Then we have ones that I was not like the most wowed about, and then this last row is the row that I would not repurchase, that I would not recommend. And so we're gonna go and start from my favorite translucent setting powder, and this is the NYX HD finishing powder, and I absolutely love this one. This one, I feel like, because I've been testing these powders for so long, has met all my qualifications and has been just the best at performing exactly the way I want it to. They also have like a yellow tinted one, which is a little bit more brightening, but I feel like these are both still kind of translucent setting powders. And so for this one, this is my winner. I've been through actually like 2 or 3 of these already. I hit the pan, as you guys can see. I really do enjoy this one. I feel like this one is like the most super finely milled. It just melts onto your skin. It doesn't look cakey. It blends with other powders or creams beautifully without like bunching up or moving around the skin. It also, I realized and noticed that it has made me matte for the longest. I mean, for the most part, some of these powders, like when we go down the line, will make me matte for a little bit, but then they will make me like greasy or extra greasy even. So this one keeps me matte for a very long time. It has no flashback, so it is super great in pictures. And I just absolutely love everything about this powder. It is so fine. It's almost like, it feels like it's almost creamy to the touch, and it just melts into your skin. Absolutely love it. It's on sale at Ulta for $7. I think you can get it for like under $5 at Target or other places, and I will try to leave links in the description down below for some of these, but this is definitely my #1 winner. Moving on to the second row. So my second, probably second follow-up best finishing powder would be from Essence. It is matte. It is also very creamy to the touch, so it's almost like it melts into your skin into like nothing, and I absolutely love this. I do feel like it keeps me matte. It doesn't have any shimmer or sparkle. It does look pretty great in pictures as well. And if I had to go to number 2 powder, this would be probably my second pick. But this whole row is actually my second pick. So any one of these in this column, I did really enjoy. This one, the Milani one, I absolutely love the finish of it. It leaves your skin very like refreshed, but still matte. And the thing is with this one, this is my second one, and this one is very fragile, I want to say fragile, because this is the second one, and I've kind of carried these, rotated them through my purse, through my makeup bag, and this is the second one that actually broke and shattered on me. So the powder is very, how do I say it? Like, it's very not tightly pressed, I want to say, or it's like a lighter formula. So if you do kind of move it around, or if it falls on the ground, or if it like is shaken a little bit more, it will crumble, because this is the second one that has crumbled on me. So that's just like a heads up for you guys. Now the next one is one I discovered that I didn't even really know existed while doing this experiment with the most like affordable translucent setting powders. And this is by Soap & Glory, the Kick-Ass Instant Retouch Press Powder. And I really do enjoy this. It is translucent. It seems kind of almost yellowish in the pan, but when you smear it on the skin, it does kind of melt into nothing, and it is clear. It's very, very soft to the touch, and this one is a little bit more pricey than some of the other drugstore ones, but I do really like the finish. I do feel like it keeps me matte. It is really nice on your skin, and I do really enjoy this one. And almost same thing goes for this Wet n Wild one. I also hit pan on this because like I used to carry it in my makeup bag. This is the Matte About You mattifying powder from Wet n Wild, and this one, the only thing I can say that's different about this one compared to the rest of these is that if you look, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see on camera, but if you look really, really closely, it almost has like a micro, I don't know, I don't want to call it shimmer or glitter or anything like that, but it has this almost, it looks like it's almost a satin finish on the skin, because it does give you a tiny bit of a luminosity. So this one's really great if, I don't know, if you're maybe going to the beach, or if you don't want to seem like completely matte, this one will give you a little bit more luminosity on the skin. But I feel like any of these powders, if you set with like a setting powder, they just melt into your skin and they don't look too cakey. So that's the one difference about this one that I have noticed. This third column right here, these are translucent setting powders from the drugstore that I want to say are not my favorite, but are not the worst either. So I went through them, I used them. They're not my first picks if I am reaching for a translucent powder from the drugstore. But if I don't have one of these handy, I will reach for these. And my favorite one from this pile is the e.l.f. one. I feel like it's very finely milled, very smooth to the skin, and it does feel like it's very mattifying. And I feel like it doesn't melt into your skin as much as the others do, but as like an under eye setting powder, I haven't noticed that like it was creasing on me or getting cakey either. So I do like this one out of this column. Second follow-up in this column is the Catrice Prime and Fine, and this is a mattifying powder, but I feel like it's not as finely milled. So I don't want to say it like sets in lines or anything, but it's not as melty as the other ones, so I feel like I could see this one on my skin a little bit more. This one is waterproof. I haven't really tested it like underwater or anything, so I can't say much about that, but I did use it and it wasn't like, it didn't make my makeup look bad is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like same thing for these two. One is from Ulta Beauty. This one is very nicely, softly, finely milled. Also in the category of these ones where I don't think it's the smoothest setting powder, but it will get the job done. And the same thing with the Flower Miracle Matte Beauty. This one, I feel like it didn't make me as matte as long as the other ones that I really do enjoy, but it will get the job done. It is a setting powder, so it will help keep your makeup and your foundation and your cream in place. And I did reach for this one whenever like the other ones weren't available for me. Now moving on to the last row of the translucent setting powders from the drugstore. This is a column I would not repurchase. I would not recommend. And it's really crazy because the Rimmel Stay Matte, this was like a super hugely raved about powder. Maybe like 4, 5, 6 years ago. I feel like a lot of beauty gurus on YouTube were loving it. From Jaclyn Hill to even I think Tati. Like they love this setting powder. But I do feel like since then they have came out with so many different variety of powders that are definitely more finely milled, that are very much smoother in texture. And this one, I feel like it kind of just sat on my skin. I feel like it's a much kind of thicker powder, even though it's still like fine of a powder. I just feel like it's not as fine as the other ones. And so I do feel like in comparison, this one did make my skin a little bit cakey, unfortunately. And I don't really particularly like the scent of this one. It has that like typical Rimmel London makeup-y smell to it, which I haven't noticed like any specific scents with the remaining of them. So this one I would not recommend, unfortunately. This Neutrogena Shine Control Powder. This one, on the other hand, I feel like it made me more greasy. After just like an hour or two of wear, I feel like it made my skin a little bit more greasy than I would want it to be. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped using it. I would not reach for this one. And, you know, when I'm using a matte translucent setting powder, I want my skin to remain matte for as long as possible, even though I do have combination skin. So this one is not one I would recommend, especially if you have combination skin or oily skin. I feel like it will not keep you matte as long. Now moving on to the last translucent setting powder from the drugstore is from Revlon, the Photo Ready translucent setting powder. And this, you guys, is probably my least favorite powder out of the whole bunch. Why? Because it is a little bit more thicker. It does not really do the best in photos because I feel like even though it doesn't have a flashback, it's thicker on the skin and it is not as smooth and creamy as the rest. It does have that like almost micro satin finish to it, kind of like the Wet n Wild one, but I did not like this. I barely used it. I used all these powders maybe like 3 or 4 times each just to actually test it out and take notes on them. But this one, after the 3rd time, I was like, nope, I'm not using it any further. It kind of seeped into my lines and made my skin kind of very cakey. And I feel like if you have wrinkles or any type of like dryness on your skin, it will latch onto it. And I just did not enjoy this one whatsoever. And so this would be the biggest pass out of all these powders for me. Alright, my beauties, so I hope this helped. And so my favorite finishing powder from the drugstore is the NYX HD finishing powder. I absolutely love it. It meets all my standards and qualifications. Like I mentioned before, I did go through like 2 or 3 of these already this year, and I hope this information helped. If you guys have any additional setting powders from the drugstore that you enjoy, I would love to hear about them in the comments down below. Also, for some of my favorite translucent setting powders, I will try to go ahead and link the links down below where you can purchase them, just so it makes it easier on you guys to go ahead and get your hands on them. And I think that is it. I really hope this like gave you guys insight. Like I said, I tested these powders for so many months that I really wanted to give you guys like data that I really truly believe in and feedback that will be helpful and useful. And so I hope I did that for you guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it and love it so much if you guys gave it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Instagram, superlady246. I try to post a little bit more often on there. If there's any topics you guys want me to discuss or do videos on, or any other drugstore or even high-end reviews, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to do that with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys and just chit-chatting in the comments down below. I love makeup. I love sharing this like creativity and just this passion of makeup with you guys. And so that'd be it for today. That concludes the video. I will be posting a couple more unboxings next weekend, so definitely stay tuned. Oh, I also have a giveaway of this super cute little eyeshadow palette, which I will leave a link down below for you guys. It's a cute little colorful palette from Sugar Pill that I just posted, and so if you'd like to go ahead and enter that giveaway, I will have it in the description down below. And I think that's it. I am sending you guys lots of love from me to you. Stay happy, stay positive, and I will see you guys super soon. Lots of love. Bye. Mwah.